Hey, I'm Mike Blakely, in case you didn't know, and we are in the music room. Look it up on Facebook in that way or on the internet. And I'm here to play a concert by invitation to the folks here in the music room, and all the songs that I've written, and I'm just going to get started playing one here. And we're going to talk about the songs a little bit and have an interview and all sorts of fun things. This song is the earliest song I wrote that I'm still playing today, which probably means I wrote it when I was maybe 24, 25 years old, which means maybe it was the first decent song I did because I'm still playing it and people still request it. And Leroy Parnell from Fredericksburg, Texas, the great singer, songwriter, guitarist. Leroy once said that everybody's got 500 bad songs in them, and the quicker you get them out, the better. So, this may have been like 501 for me, come thinking. It's called Mira las Palomas, which means look at the doves, and we'll talk a little bit after I play it. Talk a little bit about it. Well, it was down in Mexico, where days are long and life is slow. In the streets of Nueva Laredo, I found a vaquero, weekendo. He asked if he could ride my horse down to the river, and I said, of course. I led them out of town, I helped him down. He kneeled on the ground and prepared his soul. He made the cross and sat down in the shade. He asked me with his eyes to remain, so I tied the reins and I stayed. The morning doves flew to the cottonwood, and though his old voice was weak, I could still hear him speak, and I understood. Mira las palomas, son como los ángeles. Cuando yo muero, yo quiero volar por el cielo con ellas. Con las palomas, como los ángeles. It was the last day of his life, and he'd outlived his children and his wife, and even all his old compañeros, and no curandero could stay his death. Then the old man bowed his head, he closed his eyes and he was dead. But I remember every word he said with his dying breath. Mira las palomas, son como los ángeles. Cuando yo muero, yo quiero a volar por el cielo con ellas. Con las palomas, como los ángeles. The morning doves took to the sky of blue, and there was one more dove among them when they flew. Look at the mourning doves. They are like the angels. When I finally die, I hope I can fly with them high through the open sky. Fly with the mourning doves. Fly like the angels. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, welcome back, Mike. We've had you here a couple of times by yourself and with your boys, and here we are back again with just you, and it's great to have you.
Well, it's a pleasure to be back always. So thanks for having me back here in Waxahachie.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about Mira Las Palomas, and what was your inspiration for writing that song?
Well, I grew up in a family on a ranch, and my dad speaks fluent Spanish because he grew up near the border, about in Freer, Texas. Any of y'all know where Freer is down south. And I don't speak fluent Spanish, but I picked up enough from him to he would teach me the good accent, even if I didn't know all the words. He would make sure your accent's right, so that helps. But I was reading a bunch of J. Frank Dobie back in this. I wrote this song about around 1984 or so. And I don't know if y'all read J. Frank Dobie. He was a Texas folklorist. He was a professor at the University of Texas, but he was also a rancher. He grew up as a cowboy in the 1920s, and really interesting guy and a great writer. And he collected a bunch of old Mexican folk tales. And in some of those tales, people would change into animals, or animals would change into people in Mexican folklore, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I was reading a bunch of that stuff like that he had written. And so in the song, as you just heard, the old man dies and he turns into a dove that flies away with the rest of the doves. And
right.
So that was the inspiration there. It was J. Frank Dobie, and just the fact that I grew up listening to my dad speak perfect Spanish, and I'm not quite there myself. Not even with English.
Well, I love the song. It's beautiful. It really is.
And I was lucky enough that Johnny Rodriguez, I always wanted him to record the song. Mm-hmm. And, in 1984 or 5, he was still hot,
Yeah.
And I tried to get this song. I didn't know much about the music business yet, and I tried to get the song to him. And I thought, well, just nothing worked, and he's just not going to record it. And the year, I don't know, right around the turn of the millennium, a quarter of a century ago.
Yes.
He recorded this song that I just did with my friend Geronimo Trevino III, and he was a friend with Johnny Rod, and so my wish came true, and Johnny Rodriguez finally sang on that song. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
very nice.
So my wish, it's all good.
You have another song called "The Night Train and the Moon." I love this song.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that one.
Well, my friend Debbie Walton from Marble Falls, Debbie and I were getting really serious about the music business at the same time. Me as a country artist and a cowboy singer, and Debbie's a blues singer, and she can really sing the blues. And so she finally decided she was going to cut her first album. I think I had 1 or 2 CDs out myself, and she asked me to write a blues song for her. And I said, Debbie, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a blues if I'm a blues writer. I like the blues,
Yeah.
So I'll try. And so I came up with this story about this poor hobo on the side of a hill, and he's lonely and he's drinking wine, and he makes up this romance between the night train. Not the night train wine, but that's that's probably what he was drinking. And the moon. They go off to the west, as the train goes west and the moon is setting.
Right.
And they fall in love in his eyes. He's in the old hobo's eyes. So.
All right.
And I had to make it rhyme, and this is how it came out. Well, the moon was rising, and the night train did moan, and I watched from the hillside alone. admit I was drinking, but I swear I seen it right. And Sister Moon ran away with Mr. Night Train last night. Well, the night train made his move, half a bottle past 4. I was drunk, y'all, but I kept on drinking some more, some more. And Sister Moon said, Night Train, I love to watch you roll. And the night train said, Moon, you are so cool the way you glow. And Sister Moon ran away with Mr. Night Train last night. I was drinking, I was feeling alright, alright. The night train was morning, the moon shone bright. And Sister Moon ran away with Mr. Night Train last night. Well, the moon started falling and the night train rolled west, and they kissed at the skyline, undressed, undressed. Then the wine stopped flowing and it ended too soon. And I cried for the romance of the night train and the moon. And Sister Moon ran away with Mr. Night Train last night. I was drinking, I was feeling alright, alright. The night train was morning, the moon shone bright, and Sister Moon ran away with Mr. Night Train last night. Sister Moon ran away with Mr. Night Train last night. Sister Moon, she ran away with Mr. Night Train last night.
That's pretty bluesy.
It turned out pretty bluesy.
I think so. Well, has she done the song?
She recorded it on her first album.
Oh,
sure.
good.
She still plays it live when she plays music around Central Texas. Sure enough, does.
Good song. Real good song.
Much. I appreciate that.
The Last Comanche Moon. We got a moon theme going on here.
I know. 2 moon songs in a row. Was that on purpose on my set list?
Does that mean like your head's in the clouds most of the time, or what, Mike?
I'm sorry, would you say that again?
I said, does that mean your head's in the clouds most of the time?
Yeah. But my mind's in the gutter. I mean, it's just...
Well, tell me about The Last Comanche Moon.
Oh, man, that takes a lot of telling. And, not really. I'll give you the short version. So I write Western novels, and we'll get into that later.
Right.
So doing the research for all these Westerns I write, and, I come across a lot of stuff. And I learned that back in the old frontier days, like on this part of Texas, and as they pushed west into Comanche country, that people on full moon, they usually in Frontier, Texas, didn't call it the full moon. They either called it the light moon back then or the Comanche moon, because they knew that the Comanches on the full moon were going to raid somewhere. You never knew where. But, it struck fear into the hearts of kids and families, and a lot of those kids grew up, remembering that and how terrified they were that it might happen to their ranch or even their town, So I started thinking about the Comanche moon and decided to write this here song about the last Comanche moon. I guess I have to play it now, huh?
Yeah. We'd love to hear it.
Y'all get comfortable. It's about 8 minutes long.
Don't we have a great audience in here tonight?
This is the best audience I've had all day.
I'm telling you.
All year. And but this place always has great audiences, though, because people come here because they want to hear the music. They want to hear every word, right, every note. And it's almost nerve-wracking, but I'm going to deal with it. So the last Comanche moon, this was on my second album. Back in the early 90s. I got started a little bit late. I didn't start recording until I was in my 30s. But, I was in the Air Force for a while. I had to go through college and to get my journalism degree. And then I got serious. My dad's a musician, so I had music in me already. And it started to come out about that time. And that's when I wrote this song here, The Last Comanche Moon. Based on a lot of Comanche research, by the way. The last Comanche moon was shining on me. Bright as day, my true love walked the trail. From hell's midnight, I rode the Milky Way. And I raced the wolf the night. The broken arrow fell, I staked my life. And lost my fortune for to save the mission bell. Hey-oh. I was a cowboy once down on the Rio Grande. I rode the ranges for the Broken Arrow brand. I was on guard that fateful night in early June. I saw the rising of the last Comanche moon. I saw the warriors ride around the river bend, and I give a shout to rouse the boys the home ranch to defend. They kept us pinned down with 100 arrows flung. They come for all our horses, and they left us with just one, 'cause I'd locked him with a trace chain to a live oak tree that day. My racing blue roan stallion they call the Milky Way. Hey-oh. His daddy was a Mustang and a famous running stud. His mama was a thoroughbred of pure Kentucky blood. He was worth a fortune of 1,000, maybe more. His winnings numbered hundreds, and his winters numbered 4. They raised a cheer back at the Broken Arrow Ranch when I rode the Milky Way into the moonlight in Comanche. I shot my way out through 100 painted braves and struck the trail that led to town my true love for to save. My true love was a barmaid. She worked a gambler's hell. Her name was Julianne, but she was called the Mission Belle. Hey-oh. Julianne lived in the ruins of the ancient mission church that stood a mile from town out where the braves were sure to search. She always walked the trail alone from hell's midnight saloon, and I was bound to save her from the last Comanche moon. Halfway to town and I was crossing Devil's Branch, I run on to another raiding party of Comanche. I recognized a warrior on a blood bay mare. I knew his name was Wolf. They said he lifted lots of hair. We had horse raced at the fort, and he admired my blue roan stud. He come on through the moonlight like a lobo trail of blood. The last Comanche moon was shining on me. Bright as day, my true love walked the trail. From hell's midnight, I rode the Milky Way. I raced the wolf the night the Broken Arrow fell. I staked my life and lost my fortune for to save the Mission Belle. Hey-oh. I shot my pistol dry and dropped it on the road, with my saddlebag and cartridge belt to lighten up the load. But an arrow found old Milky Way and his wound began to bleed, and and the wolf was on his war horse, a fleet Comanche steed. There in the moonlight rose the ancient mission wall. The wolf was right behind me when I heard my true love call. I rode the racehorse of a lifetime to the ground. I swear it died running and his legs have not been found. I landed on my shadow and I lay just where I fell. The screams of Julianne met with the wolf's Comanche yell. Hey, oh. I've been called a liar, and I've been called a fool, and I've been told Comanches grant no mercy as a rule. But old wolf, he seen me helpless, he seen his chance, I know. But he only rode right by me and he struck me with his bow. He could have killed me, but he only counted cool. He turned and touched the Milky Way before the ghost had flew. He gave a war yell like a wolf with a brand, turned and ducked the pistol shot fired by Julianne. She helped me rise up from the hard spot where I fell. The last Comanche moon, the Milky Way, the mission bell. Hey, oh. Well, it's been 60 years now since I made that fateful ride. It's been 20 winters since I heard the wolf had died. And it's been 7 moons now since I lost my Julianne. Going for to join her, boys, my time is near at hand. Don't mind my passing, boys, it's time the old man died. The wolf, he waits to guide me up the trail or the divide. The moon is rising like it did so long ago, and I see the warriors waiting on the ridge now, all aglow. Farewell, world of trouble, here comes Julianne. She rides the Milky Way to take me to the promised land. The last Comanche moon was shining on me, bright as day. My true love walked the trail. From hell's midnight I rode the Milky Way. I raced the wolf the night the broken arrow fell. I staked my life, lost my fortune, for to save the mission bell. Hey, oh. Hey, oh. Hey, oh. Thank you very much.
I must say that not only are you a fantastic singer, songwriter, and musician, but you've got the best memory on the planet. I do not see how you can keep all, because your songs are wordy as hell. They are. And how you can remember it all. I'm so impressed.
That song, if I ever get hung up, I just keep singing and I keep playing and then go, hey, oh, and it's like a reset button.
Okay, so.
How you got that original line?
No,
Amazing.
that actually comes from a Comanche dance, like a war dance they would do. And they didn't have really, even Comanche words were not used in their dances. It was all just chanting and stuff. And hey, oh, you know, so that's where that comes from. Instead of yeehaw or ay, ay, ay or something. Yeah.
You have another song called "Let 'Em Dance Around Us," and this is yours too. Tell us about "Let 'Em Dance Around Us."
Yeah, it's all mine. I'll take all the credit or all the blame. Either way.
That's right.
So some of us were talking about Lukenbach earlier, and how my band used to play New Year's Eve there, and we were playing there. It's packed on New Year's Eve because it's Lukenbach, and I don't care who the band is. We were lucky enough to be the band for 5 years in a row on New Year's. But we're out there playing, it's about to get Western, and which I'll do later. And the dancers were dancing in that counterclockwise whirlpool, that redneck mosh pit down there, you know what I'm talking about. But there was right in the middle of all that, there's this one couple in the middle of the whirlpool, and they're just cheek to cheek, These cheeks up here, Travis. Don't want you to get the wrong visual. and just as calm as they want, just dancing in one spot. And I thought about them the next day, and I wrote this song called "Let 'Em Dance Around Us."
Nice.
And here comes that thing where the songwriters always want a tune, right? So I got to fix this string. But Larry Joe Taylor recorded this song. He asked me if he could, and I said, absolutely, Larry Joe, go for it. He did it. He had the vision. His vision was to do it as like a 50s song with saxophone. And so check out his version. It's pretty cool, his take on it. Let 'em dance around us. It's Friday night and the place is hopping, babe. The band's tight and hillbilly rockin', it's so fast and loud, playing for the party crowd. But you and me are in our own little world now. We're cheek to cheek and we're boy to girl, feeling A+. Let 'em dance around us. Just a love song to me and you. When everyone is dancing like a wrecking crew, we're in no rush. Let 'em dance around us. It's just a slow dance, it's what we need. When everything is whirling at breakneck speed, we ignore the fuss. Let 'em dance around us. Let 'em dance around us. Later on, after belt buckle shining, baby, we're all alone and we're still feeling fine enough all night long. Roll into a love song with the tune in our ears ringing, baby. We see the moon, little birds are singing, and the stardust. Hey, we let 'em dance around us. It's just a love song to me and you. When everyone is dancing like a wrecking crew, we're in no rush. Let 'em dance around us. It's just a slow dance, it's what we need. When everything is whirling at breakneck speed, we ignore the fuss. Let 'em dance around us. 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 Here's to those people, whoever they were. I never got to meet them.
That's sweet. Very. You have another song. It's called The Twist. It's not the Chubby Checker version, but it is the version written by you, Damon Rogers, and Richard Dobson.
Cool. Okay, so I put together a little songwriters retreat where everybody comes over, to the ranch, and we did this for a number of years. And it got pretty rowdy at times. It was a lot of fun because nobody has to drive anywhere. You're camping.
Right.
You're staying at my place. So anyway, Richard Dobson was there, and Damon Rogers. Damon's a friend of mine. He's a full-time working cowboy. He had helped me with a horse or two. That he's a good horse trainer. And so we'd started writing songs together. And so Damon came to the songwriters retreat, and so did Richard Dobson. We all called him Ricardo Dobson. He was friends with Guy Clark, and he went with that bunch of Texans that went to save Nashville back in the 70s. You know, he was one of those guys with Steve Earle and Guy Clark and the whole bunch. Yeah. And he had a song recorded by Johnny Cash and June Carter, and David Allan Coe stole a song from him, literally. And he wrote books too, but. Richard Dobson, and to support his music career, as a lot of us have to do, he would go work on offshore oil rigs and shrimp boats and oyster boats and that kind of thing. And he'd do ranch work, and he was a very outdoorsy guy. I loved hunting and fish and all that. But really smart guy and great man, and a real gentleman. So he's the third co-writer on the song, and Damon had the idea. All he had was the title, The Twist. Mm-hmm. And we had a piece of paper, you know. Everybody had an idea, put the idea, and I saw that was Damon. I said, okay, well, I'm going to sign up with Damon here. And then Richard Dobson came up, and he signed on, and I wadded up the paper. I said, okay, let's go. Nobody else is getting in on this. So we wrote this song, and we wrote it in probably an hour or so, you know, which for songwriting, that's not all that usual. Sometimes you work on a song for days and weeks and months. Even years. But we knocked this one out, and we got through with it. And I guess I asked the question. I said, "Man, it's really cool. I'm digging it, you know. But what's it about to y'all? Because I wasn't sure, you know." And they said, "I don't know what it's about. It's just a cool song." So this song is open to interpretation. You can figure out what you think it's about. All right. Richard Dobson passed away a couple of months, or 3 or 4 months, I think, after we wrote this song. He was ill at the time, and he didn't want to tell anybody. And so this is the last song that he wrote or co-wrote with anybody. And Damon's still alive and kicking. No, It's called The Twist, not to be confused with the Chubby Checkers twist, but I remember Chubby Checkers, though. When I was lost out in the mist, I made my hand into a fist. I added one more to my list. Therein lies the twist. That same old road threw me a curve. I guess we all get what we deserve. I knew the way until we kissed. Therein lies the twist. Therein lies the twist of the knife. What saves your soul could cost your life. That devil's deal is hard to resist. Therein lies the twist. As you sow, so shall you reap. What you grow is yours to keep. My aim was true, but somehow I missed. Blame it on the twist. Therein lies the twist of the knife. What saves your soul could cost your life. That devil's deal ain't so hard to resist, y'all. Therein lies the twist. When I was lost out in the mist, I made my hand into a fist. I added one more to my list. Therein lies the twist. Blame it on the twist. It's all in the twist, y'all. Therein lies the twist. Let's twist again like we did last summer. Remember when I was a kid in the 60s, like early 60s, that's when the twist of Chubby Checkers first came out. And my parents would make my brother and I twist, you know, for all the neighbors. Hey, do the twist. And we just twist as fast as we could. I'd throw my back out doing that now.
I've just never been the same afterwards.
Twisting days are over.
Yeah, well. Hey, before I forget, let's tell everybody where they can find you and your music on the World Wide Web. Oh, and I'm going to throw in books, too. You're the first performer that is a published author as well. So
Oh, cool.
go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you.
Okay. Well, on the good old electric internet, you can go to MikeBlakely.com.
Yeah.
And there I am. It's pretty, you know, it took me a long time to think that up, but I am on Facebook under Mike Blakely. I'm in a band with a couple other guys that we're going to talk about here whenever you want to. It's called the Outlaw Firm, and so we have an Outlaw Firm Facebook presence as well. And so that's where you can find me.
All right. And how do they get your music?
It's downloadable wherever you download music.
There's shows and bag. Yeah, there you go.
Pardon that?
Is it available at shows to purchase?
Oh, you know, I always have a couple of CDs in the truck. They don't sell like they used to because everybody's downloading now. But you can, yeah. I brought some with me.
Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So that's how you find him.
MikeBlakely.com. That's right.
That's right.
And you go on my website, and there's a place where you can sign on for my newsletter. It's like an email newsletter. And I don't do it real often, maybe once a month or so, just whatever. When something I really want to promote and let y'all in on it and let you know what's going on, then I'll send it out. So
Perfect.
yeah, sign up for the newsletter if you want to. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
Might go to junk mail. You might have to check your junk mail.
You have another song called Charlie Siringo.
Oh yeah.
Give us a story behind this dude.
Well, this is a dude that I dredged up in researching my Western novels. And Charlie Siringo grew up on the same place I grew up on the Texas coastal bend. I grew up in Wharton, Texas. Anybody know where Wharton is? I've been there. I've been through there, right, on the way to Victoria or whatever. My dad always says it's WHARTON instead of like Horton here's a who or whatever. You know, so he said you got to pucker up, you know, for Wharton to say it. And anybody ever asked my dad, well, where is Wharton? He'd say, well, it's between Houston and Buenos Aires. Straight line. But that's where it is. Yeah, that's where I grew up, and that's where Charlie Siringo grew up, and the guy that this song is about. And Charlie, you know, just about exactly 100 years before me, when I was his age, 100 years later, I was the same age as him. And I learned to do some cowboy, and you know, from my dad, and from a little bit of roping in the arenas, and working mainly on rounding up cattle on ranches and things like that. We all the ranchers in the area, we'd help each other because it's just fun, you know. And but Charlie was a real cowboy. I mean, in the days before barbed wire, and he went up at 15 years old. He went up the Chisholm Trail for the first time, and then for 15 years in a row, he went up the trail sometime twice a year. So he was puro cowboy. He was the real deal.
Yeah.
Back in those days, I mean, the wild Texas Longhorns and all that. And so Charlie, he became a Pinkerton detective agent later on in life, and because he knew how to get along out in the West, and he talked to Pinkerton brothers, and Chicago was the headquarters of the agency, the detective agency, and he talked them into letting him go out and be an undercover agent before the term undercover agent was even coined. And so he would go in there and infiltrate these outlaw gangs. He would join the gangs. And then he'd get to the nearest telegraph, and he'd let the troops know where to come arrest the bad guys, you know. So and do a sting, which also wasn't a term yet back then. So he predated all the terms. And then he wrote quite a few books about his Wild West experiences too. And so I read some of Charlie's books, the ones about cowboying, and he wrote a bunch of books about his outlaw chasing days. And I knew I was going to write a song about him, and I thought, man, what all rhymes with Siringo? It was his name, Charlie Siringo. And I was reading one of his books, and he rode through Durango, Colorado, on the trail of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I thought, oh, yeah, there's a rhyme right there, Siringo and Durango. So that's the reason for this song. And my pal, Red Stegall, the king of the cowboy singers these days, recorded this song on one of his albums. And he plays it on his radio show too. Y'all get Red Stegall's radio show about ranching and cowboying and cowboy music and cowboy poetry. He has like 500 stations across the nation that play his weekly. It's called Cowboy Corner. Look it up on the internet or something. And he recorded this song right here. He sent me some Stegall bucks. Oh, Charlie Siringo was just 19 years old and 1875. Hell-bent on pushing his luck with them longhorns up north on the Chisholm Trail Drive. He told his dear mother he'd promised to squander no wages on women and wine. But Charlie Siringo should never have made no big promises he couldn't mind. Now Charlie spent 15 long years on the hurricane deck of a Spanish cayuse, till the boss found out barbed wire worked cheaper than Charlie, and up and cut old Charlie loose. He drifted to Kansas and he tended a store, but 3 years was more than he could stand. So Charlie Siringo rode up to Chicago and became a Pinkerton man, yes he did. And Charlie Siringo, he loved a fandango, no one can argue with that. He'd ride in a minute for the pure glory in it, and he'd fight at the drop of a hat. That wild Texas gringo, Charlie Siringo, he rounded him up mighty fine. And I am a friend of old Charlie Siringo. Charlie's an old friend of mine. Now Charlie Siringo rode down through Durango, summer of 1899. Hot on the trail of some bad desperados wanted over the Wyoming line. The hole in the wall gang had blowed up the pay train and gotten away with the dough. So Charlie spent months on the trail of the wild bunch, but let old Butch Cassidy go, that's a fact. And Charlie Siringo, he loved a fandango, no one can argue with that. He'd ride in a minute for the pure glory in it, and he'd fight at the drop of a hat. That wild Texas gringo, Charlie Siringo, rounded him up mighty fine. And I am a friend of old Charlie Siringo. Charlie's an old friend of mine. Well, Charlie Siringo was 51 years old, summer of 1906. And after 22 years as a cowboy detective, he figured he'd just call it quits. Now old Charlie understood he needed livelihood, couldn't get by on his looks. So Charlie remembered his Wild West adventures and wrote them all down in his books. And now Charlie Siringo, he loves a fandango, no one can argue with that. He will ride in a minute for the pure glory in it, and he'll fight at the drop of a hat. That wild Texas gringo, Charlie Siringo, he still rounds them up mighty fine, mighty fine. And I am a friend of old Charlie Siringo. Charlie's an old friend of mine. That's why I'm a friend of old Charlie Siringo. Charlie's an old friend of mine. Here we go, Charlie.
Hey.
All right, here's to you, Charlie.
Again, isn't it just amazing that he can remember all these words? I'm
Well,
impressed. I really am.
It's just
Okay.
muscle memory. You know, your jaws learn how to make the noises, and I'm thinking, I might be thinking about where I'm going tomorrow and how am I going to get there and what time I got to be there. And it becomes automatic after a while.
Yeah. Huh. All right. A town called Paradise.
Oh yeah, I'm glad. Okay. So, my good friend John Arthur Martinez wrote a song with a doctor named Ken Garrett, and he's a radiologist. Ken Garrett is, and so I met Ken Garrett through John Arthur Martinez, and Ken got the songwriting bug after writing one song with John Arthur, and the song was about something about Ken's life, so it meant something to him, and so he started pitching song ideas to both of us, just like all the time, you know. And,
Oh, wow.
And Dr. Ken, he's a friend of mine now, and he's a doctor. He's a radiologist. He was a radiologist up in Dallas, and he's so good at what he does that he can work from home because people send him X-rays from all over the world,
reads them.
and he's an expert reader of the X-rays, and he helps doctors and patients all around the world and around the nation, of course, figure out what to do with the patients, you know. So I'm sure he goes into the clinic whenever he has to, but he can work a lot from home, which means he can live anywhere he wants to. So he was living in Dallas at the time, and he's a biker. He's a doctor and a biker. And he looks more like a biker than a doctor, and he's a great big music fan. He gets on his bike and he rides to all the festivals and things like that.
Nice.
And so he pitched me a bunch of ideas that they were kind of goofy, you know. We all come up with goofy ideas. It's not just him. I guarantee it's everybody. And I said, oh, no, not for me, Doc. And then he came up with this idea, a town called Paradise, population 2. I said, oh, I like that. Now we're on to something. So we wrote the song, and the song, mainly on the telephone, by email, you know, we get together every now and then. It took us a few months to get it all figured out. And the song turns out being about anybody who's ever lived in a big city. You know, when I was right out of high school, I lived in Albuquerque because I was in the Air Force there, and when I was in college, I lived in Austin, and I had to live in a couple of big cities. But I grew up in the country, and I always got back as soon as I could. And the song is about anybody stuck in a big city, especially this one couple that we're singing about in the song, and who's looking for a slower pace of life in a smaller town, maybe even out in the country. And so that was the idea behind the song. So we wrote the song, and Dr. Ken Garrett took the song very carefully because he moved from Dallas, Texas to Granite Shoals, Texas, which is population about, 500 at the most. Wow. Down there by Marble Falls. So he took it pretty seriously. He was moving to his little town called Paradise, and his girlfriend came with him and everything else, so it was all good. A town called Paradise. I can read it on your face. You've had it with this place. You're sick and tired of the rat race. Honey, I am too. Traffic jams and deadlines, crime wave in the headlines, smoke choking the sunshine. Tell you what, let's do. We'll find a place somewhere with some clear, fresh air, and we'll roll like a pair of dice. Honey, just me and you. We'll look up at the stars at night, far from the big city lights. In a town called Paradise, population 2. What would we have to give up? I can deal with a pay cut. Hey, let's get out of this death rut, honey, while we still can. Say goodbye to the concrete find a turn off this one-way dead-end street. Let's get some grass under our feet. I'm not afraid to get a little dirt on my hands. We'll find a place somewhere with some clear, fresh air, and we'll roll like a pair of dice. Honey, just me and you. We'll look up at the stars at night, far from the big city lights, in a town called Paradise. Population 2. We need a wide open view of the western sky. We'll lose these big city blues. Honey, just you and I. The prettiest smile on your face tells me you love our new place, far away from the rat race. Honey, I love it too. Darling, don't ever think twice. I would make every sacrifice to remain here in paradise. Population 2. We found a place somewhere with some clear, fresh air, and we rolled like a pair of dice. Honey, just me and you. Now we look up at the stars at night, far from the big city lights, in a town called Paradise. Population 2, yeah. A town called Paradise. Population 2. Just me and you, babe. Here we are in paradise, in the music room.
You got it. Oh, wow. You're so good.
Thank you.
The next song you're going to do is The Outside Circle. And again, you wrote this with your buddy Damon Rogers.
Yeah, Damon came up with the idea. And the outside circle means if you're rounding up cattle, on some big ranches, or even places where there are no, with big pastures, or no fences at all. Something like up in Montana or some of those big ranches up there. And I was lucky enough to work the roundups twice a year on the O2 Ranch out in far west Texas, out between Alpine and Terlingua.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And the O2 Ranch is 275,000 acres.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's a big ranch. But mostly I just worked on a little bitty 80,000 acre part of it. I had some friends from Crislo Springs, the Box brothers, Ron, Von, John, and Don, who I'm not making it up, but they leased that part of the ranch from the O2, and they would go out there in the spring and the fall and do the roundups, and each pasture might be 20,000 acres out there, so it's a day's work in each pasture. So it's like a 4 or 5 day roundup, and I honed my cowboy skills quite a bit there because I learned from some real good hands.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of place where you have somebody riding the outside circles. What you usually do is have some working pins in the middle of the pasture or the middle of the range, and everybody goes out and makes a circle. The less experienced riders will stick close to the camp, and you got a little more experience, you get sent a little farther out. Each circle gets bigger and bigger, and somebody obviously has to ride the outside circle. And so you pick the best cowboy with the best horse to do that, because they got a long way to ride that day. And so that's what the song's about. And it's about some kid seeing this happen, and he sets a goal for himself to one day be the kid or the cowboy chosen to ride the outside circle. And I wrote this with Damon Rogers. When I was a young boy, my age was barely 10, riding my first roundup with the older boys and men. The foreman sent our top hand where the lesser men might fail, to ride the outside circle, the longest, roughest trail. And I watched that cowboy ride out on a skittish colt that day. And once on a distant ridge, I saw him turning horns my way. We'd been the herd by evening, his pony soaked with sweat. I made myself a promise that I still remember yet. One day I'd ride the outside circle, I'd make a top hand, riding through the sage so purple around the Ocotillo stand. And I'd chouse the wildest cattle on the roughest broncos, and I'd ride the outside circle for the brand. I held my promise sacred, and I aimed to keep my word. And I learned to throw a fast loop from the rankest in the herd. And it was 10 years later when I heard the roundup boss. He said, "You'll ride the outside circle, son. Go catch yourself a hoss." And I rode the outside circle. I made a top hand, riding through the sage so purple around the Ocotillo stand. And I chouse the wildest cattle on the roughest broncos, and I rode the outside circle for the brand. These days I'm the foreman. Some say I'm getting old. It's true, my hair is silver. You can see my legs are bowed. And I ride the inside circles now. Just ask my cowboy peers. They know I rode that outside circle for well nigh 30 years. Yes, I rode the outside circle. I made a top hand, riding through the sage so purple around the Ocotillo stand. And I chouse the wildest cattle on the roughest broncos, and I rode the outside circle for the brand. And in my dreams I ride the ridges, in my stirrups I still stand, and I ride the outside circle for the brand. The longest, roughest trail out there, y'all.
Cool song.
Damon and I won a couple of awards with that song.
I bet. It just, it so paints the picture. I mean, it was like I was watching a movie while you were.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
no,
goal.
it's wonderful. In the Dust.
Oh, yeah.
Who'd you leave in the dust, Mike Berkeley?
Oh, it's purely a fictional story here. So it was. I wrote this on a really dusty year when I lived in the Marble Falls area, in Marble Falls, Texas. And the dust was everywhere, and nobody was even bothering to wash their vehicles anymore because they just, get dusty again before the end of the day. So I saw a UPS van. I was walking down Main Street in Marble Falls, and a UPS van drove by me, and it was bigger than this wall, one of those big vans. Mm-hmm. And it, too, was covered with dust. And I should mention what year this was. Is 97 or 98, somewhere in there, the dawn of the age of the Internet, which comes into play in the story here. Because that van drove by me, and usually when you write something in the dust of somebody's vehicle with your finger, what does it say?
Wash me.
Yeah. But somebody had written that on the big UPS van in big old letters, but it was www.washme.com.
Ah.
I thought, that's pretty clever right there.
Right.
By the way, I looked up the website just to make sure it wasn't something weird, and belongs to a car wash in Minnesota, so it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Those of you with imaginations, don't get carried away. Yeah, so that's the reason I decided to write. I figured, I haven't written a song about writing something in the dust on somebody else's vehicle. I don't know if anybody else has either. So that's what I did, and I could have gone any route with this song. For once, I decided to take the high road. And I wrote a dusty little love song called "In the Dust." There are 18 dirt road miles or more between my place and her front door. When the weather got dry, that dust would cover my beat-up Ford. I remember so well that first sweet night. She said, please stay, and I said, all right. When I woke up in the morning, she was driving away to work. When I looked for a note, I was out of luck till I walked outside to my beat-up truck. She wrote, I on the left front fender, love you on my door, forever all the way to the tailgate of my beat-up Ford. She made hearts on all three hubcaps. Oh, what a sweet reward. I love you forever, written in the dust of my beat-up Ford. Well, I never did dream some words in dust would make my heart just dang near bust. Maybe you can understand now why I never do wash that truck. And a lot has changed ever since those days. We've got 3 kids, that road's been paved. Oh, but only yesterday in blue windstorm full of dust. So early this morning she woke up, found my note on her brand new truck, and it said, I on the left front fender, love you on her door, forever all the way to the tailgate of her brand new Ford. I made hearts on all 4 hubcaps. Oh, what a sweet reward. I love you forever, written in the dust of her brand new Ford. On the left front fender, love you on her door, forever all the way to the tailgate. She goes all the way, all I made for all 4 hubcaps. What a sweet reward. I love you forever, written in the dust of her brand new Ford. In the dust, left it in the dust, y'all. Found it in the dust. Ooh, yeah. She wrote, I love you forever, in the dust of my beat up Ford. Thank you.
That's a real marketable song. That really is.
One would think so.
I think you need to be shopping that one.
All right, I'll shop it again.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And again and again.
It's been so great sitting here listening to you on a Friday night with all your friends around you, and it's just been great. And I'm going to let you go ahead and take us out of the show with It's About to Get Western, because it's about to get Western.
Woo, this weekend it's going to right?
Yeah.
This song right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks all of y'all for being here and not throwing things, Appreciate that. And to all the folks out there watching online, and thanks for joining us. It's just like, Is this the one that goes out to everybody? Anyway, you know who you are. If you're watching live on Facebook, thanks for joining us. It's just like you're in the room with us, so we appreciate you checking in with us. Okay, here's a song that I wrote with my two buddies, Mike Seiler, originally from Lubbock, but he moved to Marble Falls, and I got to know him there, and he's a great country singer and had his own band, and then he moved to Nashville after we wrote this song, and he's still there in Nashville. We sent him there to try and fix country music again, and he's working on it.
Good.
It's a hard job, though. But so I wrote this with Mike Seiler and Larry Nye, who was my record producer for the first several records. He played guitar in my band from here to Europe 15 times and all over the country. And so Larry Nye and Mike Seiler and I, the three of us, we were invited to play some cowboy music at this thing they do in Lubbock called the Cowboy Symposium. And I didn't even know cowboys had symposiums, but apparently I found out they could do one out there in Lubbock. So if we go out there, you get to play, and we all had horses at the time, all three of us, and so we loaded up some horses because you can ride on some big West Texas ranches out there.
Oh, nice.
And that sort of thing. That one year we got to ride on the Cap Rock, which is
yes.
all private land, and where Quanah Parker and the Comanches escaped the U.S. Army, just a very historic area. So, we'd go out there and they'd have a horse trainer show you how to work with your horses, and you can buy saddles and spurs and all kind of stuff in this huge hall. And it's like the Fort Worth stock show, that kind of
right.
kind of same kind of deal. So we always loved going out there. And on the way out there, we just started writing this song called "It's About to Get Western," because we were going to the Cowboy Symposium.
That's right.
And it's a little rodeo song. And on the way back, we pretty much finished writing it. It's a long drive, Lubbock from Marble Falls, so 6 or 7 hours. And so we did that, and we happened to know, we were, at this time, especially Larry and I, was pretty well connected with the business, the music biz, And he said, hey, Larry Joe, not Larry Joe, Gary P, Larry Joe, no. Gary P. Nunn is recording in Fredericksburg at the Loma recording studio. He said, why don't we go pitch this song to him? So we went to Larry's studio, made a demo, and took it by and gave it to Gary P. in the studio. He said, okay, I'll listen to it, Well, he did listen to it, and he liked it, and he put it on his record, and he still does it in his shows today. And so that was, yeah, that's right. Those Gary P. Nunn bucks are pretty good. But
yeah.
And so this was back in the late 90s when he did that. And 20 years later, he recut the song with a young up-and-coming, and now a star in Nashville, Cody Johnson. So they did the song as a duo together. So the song's got good legs under it again. It's always Gary P. does it at his shows. I played it at my shows. And it's about to get Western. 1, 2, 3. Good old boys are riding brim to brim from the ranch to the rodeo. Old Tommy draws a wild one, a little bronc called Smokey Joe. Smokey Joe ain't never been rode, but Tommy ain't never been throwed. And as he settles into the buck and shoot, he says, boys, here comes the show. 'Cause it's about to get western round here tonight. You better wear your working clothes and pull your hat down tight. Hey, it's about to get western, I don't mean it might. It's about to get western around here tonight. Tommy's spending all the prize money later on, buying drinks at the dance. He's making eyes at the rodeo queen, figures she's worth the chance. Some big bulldogger by the name of Earl says, Tommy, that's my girl. And as he ducks Earl's knuckles, old Tommy starts to chuckle, says, well, all right, let her whirl. 'Cause it's about to get western round here tonight. Yeah, that's right. You better wear your working clothes and pull your hat down tight. Hey, it's about to get western, I don't mean it might. Bound to get western around here tonight. Well, the rodeo queen gets the fight broke up. She drags Big Earl to the pickup truck, and a cute cowgirl grabs Tommy by the hand, pulls him towards the dance floor, hollering at the band. Well, it's about to get western right here tonight. Waxahachie on a Friday night. You better wear your working clothes and pull your hat down tight. Hey, it's about to get western. I don't mean it might. Bound to get western around here tonight. It's about to get western. I don't mean it might. About to get western. The Cowboys' delight. Thank you all very much. Always fun here in the music room.
And he does have hair under that hat, too.
There's some hair.
Yeah.
All turned gray, but it's still hanging in there.
Well, I just got a little sticky note from Mr. Chedway back there.
Okay.
And he has 2 songs he wants to request. However, I know you've just done 10 songs and you may need a break, but if you don't need a break, we'd love to hear My Days Are Numbered and Wichita both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can do that.
Those are the most clever songs written. I'm telling you.
I'm going to do my 2 clever songs.
Yes, they're so clever. Are you good? Are y'all good with hers a little bit more?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So let's do Wichita first.
Okay.
It's also the song's like talks a lot about Wichita, but the name of the song is Ode to Toto. You know that little dog from The Wizard of Oz? Mm-hmm. He's my favorite tough guy from the movies because he was like 12 pounds of furry fury. Chased the lion up a tree. He'd just jump on a flying monkey and go for a ride whenever he wanted to. He was not afraid of the wicked witch and her spells, so he's a pretty tough guy, in my opinion. I decided to write this ode to Toto. So, I'm a research guy, so I had to do some research on him. And I found a rare copy of Toto's auto dog biography that he wrote back in 1932. And you may be wondering, how do you do that? Well, he translated it to a Siamese cat, and so it's got to be true. So in his own words, this is Toto's story. The fun thing about this song for the audience is toward the end of the song, you all get to help me bark like a dog. You get to bark like a dog with me. So start thinking about which dog you're going to bark like. My name is Toto, I'm a Kansas puppy. I got lost in Oz on my way to Kentucky. I hate flying monkeys, I didn't like the farm. The only place to me that ever held any charm was this little town that's got it all. It's called Wichita. Put your ruby slippers on and click your heels. Let's go to Wichita. Come on, girl. Put your ruby slippers on and click your heels. We're going to Wichita. Soon as we cross that Kansas line, we're gonna leave the yellow brick blues behind. Wichita, yeah, we're gone to Wichita. Now, you may wonder why Toto wanted to go specifically to Wichita instead of just anywhere in Kansas. Well, he was kind of picky, and it was a process of elimination. As he wrote in chapter 13 of his auto dog biography, this is what he said. Kansas City just moves too fast. He said old Dodge City's living in the past. And it is. But there is one place I'd sure like to go. I seen it from the twister way down below. The sweetest sight I ever saw, and it was Wichita. So put your ruby slippers on and click your heels. We're going to Wichita. Put your ruby slippers on and click your heels going to Wichita. As soon as we cross that Kansas line, we're gonna leave the yellow brick blues behind in Wichita. Yeah, we're going to Wichita. Now you watch the movie, it seems like Toto and Dorothy and, the Scarecrow and the Lion, they all got along so well, in the movie. Turned out, that's all Hollywood. There was some animosity there. As Toto wrote in his autobiography in chapter 17, this is what he said. Tin Man was a bucket of rust. Scarecrow blew away in a gust. The king of the forest was a big bad lion. The last time I saw him back in Oz, he was crying. Had a little sticker in his paw. Oh, let's go to Wichita, Dorothy. Hey, put your ruby slippers on and click your heels. We're going to Wichita. Put your ruby slippers on and click your heels. Going to Wichita. As soon as we cross that Kansas line, we're gonna leave the yellow brick blues behind. Wichita, yeah, we're going to Wichita. Listen, y'all, this is the time in the song when you get to bark like a dog. You can bark like your own dog at home. I got 3 of them, so I'll have to choose. Or you can bark like the neighbor's dog next door that will not shut up, You can bark like a famous dog like Rin Tin Tin or Toto or Lassie or Cujo. However you want to bark. When the music stops, you start barking. Put your ruby slippers on and click your heels. We're going to Wichita. Yeah. Put your rubies, get your dog on your heels. We're going to Wichita. Not bad. Till we cross that Kansas line, we're going to the yellow brick blues behind. Gone to Wichita. Oh, come on, Dorothy, let's go to Wichita. That's some good barking, y'all. Yeah. There's a pack of coyotes on the edge of town going, what the hell's going on at the music room tonight? So, got to keep the coyotes guessing right now.
That's right. This next song that you're going to do, My Days Are Numbered, and I know we have worn you out, and I so appreciate it. This is the most clever song, really and truly, that I've ever heard anybody
now
write.
see, everybody's expectations are really high now.
Well, because it's awesome. It's awesome. They're going to love it.
Hope so. Okay, so this song is another, also came out of New Year's Eve at Luckenbach on another year. Where, if you play at Luckenbach, you're allowed, the band is allowed and, in fact, encouraged to camp there at Luckenbach. You can bring your bus, or I had a horse trailer with like an RV, small RV area in it, and so that's where I would sleep. And they really don't want the band out on the road after playing at Luckenbach because you don't ask anybody to bring you a beer on the stage. I mean, you just look down and there's lined up. So I woke up on New Year's Day, and I had this idea right away. I said, you know what? This music business is kind of hard, man. I need one big hit. And I drink too much beer. Oh. But I play 3-chord country. So I was on to something with the numbers, one big hit, too much beer, 3-chord. And I thought, let me grab a pencil, and I opened a warm beer, sipped on it a little bit. And so I started writing this verse that went from number 1 to number 12, trying to be clever and have a good time with it and have it make sense about the music business and have fun with it. And I said, I feel a little bit better now. So I found a cold beer then, kind of just a breakfast beer, nothing serious. And so I wrote a second verse, again, with the ascending numbers from 1 to 12. And then I thought, man, if I can write a third verse and come up with a chorus of some kind, I might have a song that I can someday go play for the folks in the music room in Waxahachie.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wrote the third verse for y'all, basically.
And we appreciate it so much.
So in the third verse, I decided to write about how my band had been to Europe for 18 years in a row or whatever it was, and so I finally got to use this rhyme that I've been saving as a songwriter, where you rhyme the word Europe with the word syrup. So I think my songwriting career is pretty complete. Wouldn't you all agree?
Yeah.
No golf clap, no nothing. Thank you. Hello, thank you. Because who else has done that?
Just you, Mike.
So you'll listen for it when it comes up there in the third verse. Just having a good time with this one, and I want to tell y'all once again, I appreciate y'all being here. God love you. Thanks for supporting music. Thanks for supporting the music room. And this is about the honky-tonk music business. If you ever think you want to start a band, well, you're already in one, so you're lost already. The rest of you, if you ever want to think of starting a band, listen to this song several times. You may change your mind. I need one big hit. I drink too much beer. I play 3-chord country, and I have 4 years. We got 5 musicians in a 6-piece band. At the 7-Eleven, we just ate and ran. Now we're 9 gigs into 10 one-night stands. Got 1,100 springs in a 12-ounce can, and my days are numbered. Yeah, my days are numbered. I stay unencumbered. I don't get much slumber. Everything is numbered. My days are numbered, y'all, and I got to keep on moving till I'm gone. I sleep till 1 on Monday. I play Tuesday night. Then a 3-day road trip takes me for a ride. I got a 5 o'clock shadow and a 6-pack buzz, and the 7th one was colder than that 8th one was. We played a 9 o'clock dance in a tin roof hall. At 11 we were rocking. After 12, last call. Oh, my days are numbered. Yeah, my days are numbered. I stay unencumbered. I don't get much slumber. Everything is numbered. My days are numbered, y'all. I got to keep on moving till I'm gone. I just want 1 fried egg and 2 flapjacks with syrup on a 3-week tour through 4 countries in Europe. We know 5 new ways to order 6 beers, please. For the 7th straight day, I have 8 Swiss cheese. Found out 9 means no for the 10th time. Damn, I'm 11 beers closer to a 12-step program. My days are numbered. Yeah, my days are numbered. I stay unencumbered. I don't get much slumber. Everything is numbered. My days are numbered, and I got to keep on moving till I'm gone. Oh, my days are numbered. My days are numbered, y'all. I got to keep on moving till I'm gone. Yes, I do. Woo! Thanks for those last 2 requests, Randy. I appreciate it. All right.
Mike, it has been absolutely wonderful having you here. I know everybody's had such a good time. I also not only want to thank you for being here, but our photographers, Gene and Barbara Moore and Bruce Davis. Want to thank our studio audience in here tonight, which is fabulous.
In fact, if y'all ever need a reference as an audience, just talk to me. I'll give you an A+ reference.
Also want to thank all you online that are listening right now and supporting us. And Randy, I want to thank you back there for mixing all of this and getting this together, and you're going to have a beautiful recording.
Oh, and video, too. That's the scary part.
That's right, on it. Y'all keep listening, and thanks for tuning in. You are in the music room.
Yeah, thank y'all.